single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hello, welcome to Tomorrow Again. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already subscribed. And if you've already subscribed, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's story time. You know, I was sort of out and about today, and I wore this dress that I have on now. And if you guys notice, there's a scar here. Well, this is where I have a port. It's a port that the doctors prescribe to be used for chemotherapy and to be used to draw blood from. As I've told you guys, the cancer that I had is in remission, and I'm so grateful for that, but I still have to have the port. You know, it still has to be here for a little while longer. And I think the doctor's way of thinking is just in case. But I do have an idea of when it'll be taken out, and I'll share that with you guys when that time comes. But I was out and about today wearing this dress, and I was trying to cover up the scar, and then it dawned on me, why covered up? Why would I cover it up? It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something that I had to go through at the time, and I'm still going through now. But I'm not going to be ashamed. There's a port here, and there was a purpose for it. So I didn't want to talk today necessarily about my health or about this port. I wanted to talk to you guys about fear. They say fear is a lie. Fear is a liar. If there's anyone out there who's going through intense fear and trying to make a decision and trying to withstand a situation and trying to survive and trying to deal with something or someone in particular, I hope this story that I share with you will somehow help. And at the end of this video, I have a message for someone out there who's dealing with fear. A couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with non-hodgkins lymphoma. It was a very rapid growing lymphoma, and I was at stage 3. I had lost so much weight, and I was so afraid to go to the doctor to find out what was wrong with me. But I went, you know, with my kids urging me and threatening me to go, you know, see what was going on. I finally went, and unfortunately, I had gotten very bad news. It was one of my worst fears, cancer. One thing about a fear, once you face it, it's really no longer really a fear. It becomes a challenge. It becomes something to get through. But you don't have that wall of fear that prevents you from moving forward. Dealing with cancer, you have many hurdles to jump over. And one hurdle in particular, when you have cancer, you usually have to have a port installed to, as I said earlier, to, you know, as a way to, infuse the drugs in your system for chemotherapy, which fights cancer. The day that I was supposed to have the port, and first of all, before I got a port, when I was in the hospital, they put in a PICC line, and that's where this scar comes from. And that PICC line is similar to this port, only except it's in your arm, and they put the medicine into your system that way. I think it's less damaging to tissue is the reason they do it that way. Now, the morning finally came and I had to get this port put in, and I dreaded it. I mean, for months. Every time I'd go to the doctor, he'd mention, well, it's time to get you need to get a port instead of getting this PICC line. You need to take the PICC line out and get the port. And everyone was saying, well, the port's better than the PICC line and blah, 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 blah. Which, in a way, it is better. Because when I had the PICC line, I couldn't get it wet. I couldn't be in the rain. I couldn't swim. I couldn't bathe. It had to always be covered when I was out in the elements. So in a way, this port is better because you can swim and you can do all the things that you normally do, and you can really hardly notice it. But the day came when I had to have the surgery to get this put in, and I had resisted my entire life going to the doctor, and let alone facing any kind of surgery. So the morning came, and I decided to turn it into steps. Step 1, get up in the morning. Step 2, go to the hospital. Step 3, go register. Step 4, take a couple deep breaths. Step 5, I would be in the operating room. And it was uneventful. It didn't take long at all. I think it took all but a half an hour, 45 minutes. And I wouldn't recommend this, but within an hour or so later, I was sort of up and about, trolleying around town, shopping, going to visit my son on his job. I was doing all sorts of things. Who would have thought? A few hours before, I was on the operating table. But that's just one example of fear and trying to conquer fear. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do in order to get where you have to get. And sometimes you have to think about the outcome that you desire and concentrate on that goal and trudge through that fear no matter what. Make it happen. Reach your goal and don't let fear stop you. Fear really doesn't serve a whole lot of purpose. Caution does. Once you make an educated guess and an educated estimate and a common sense estimate of doing something, it no longer becomes fear. It could be a concern, but not fear. So, this is my story time, how I conquered one of my fears, and there was many more to come, such as life. You stay positive, you stay uplifted, and you conquer what you need to conquer. Now, I have a message for someone out there. I sensed you 2 days ago, and you're the reason I made this video. I know that you're going through a huge, huge challenge. Listen to me, please. Don't let fear stop you, because fear has a way of escalating into more fear, and it never goes away. But once you conquer this, you will be very proud of yourself. You'll get through it. You'll definitely get through it. You've gotten through things before. You can do this. I have a message for someone who is a lot younger, someone that's in school. And I feel like you're having a battle within yourself about your sexual identity. I'm not even sure if I'm using the right word, but you feel like you're being judged because of your sexual identity. And I just want to tell you, I know you're very, very young, and yes, you can get through this. You can definitely get through this excruciating circumstance that you're in. Don't give up, because there's someone else watching you. They need your strength. Keep going. If people don't understand you, let them judge. That's their problem, not yours. You can do this. Keep going. You know who you are. Don't let anyone else try to define who you are. You are love. This is tomorrow again. I'm wishing you guys the best of the best. Let's take care of one another. It can't hurt. Thanks. The answer to last week's puzzle, I Spy with My Psychic Eye, is the Gulf of Mexico.